Here's how to downgrade a narcissist, and you can do it. When a narcissist moves on, they do not upgrade to a better version of you. Don't fall for that illusion. Instead, they settle, not in a mature or enlightened way, but out of necessity, as their options diminish with each cycle of their toxic behavior. Their manipulation tactics lose effectiveness, their charm fades, and people catch on faster. Eventually, they end up with someone who sees through their act, tolerates less, and expects even less, simply because that is all the narcissist can attract. If you doubt this, let me break it down for you. In today's discussion, I'll show you how to recognize when your narcissistic ex has settled for a downgrade. Let me be absolutely clear. When I refer to the new supply as a downgrade, I'm not demeaning them. This is about understanding that the narcissist remains the common denominator in all their relationships, and their pattern forces them to settle for less, not because they found someone truly better or worthy of their love. That notion is nothing but a deception. The first telltale sign: they choose someone who doesn't challenge them. Narcissists crave superiority, don't they? Their new partner is often someone who won't question, confront, or push them, at least not yet. The narcissist opts for someone easier to manipulate. But here's the irony. While they may feel powerful initially, over time, they realize there is no depth, no excitement, no true emotional connection. The spark they once felt was actually a reflection of how much you invested in the relationship. They are not loved for who they truly are, but for the persona they fabricate, and deep down, they are painfully aware of this. You challenged them. You saw through the illusion. You were authentic. That's why they worked so hard to break you. The downgrade. They are simply someone who hasn't yet seen behind the mask, or worse, someone willing to accept the false facade. It may seem surprising, but I've witnessed many narcissists end up with each other. Take my parents, for example. As a child, I watched them despise one another, yet they still enabled each other's toxicity because it suited their selfish needs. They were willing to ignore the extreme dysfunction they created, simply because it served them. That's how it works. Sign 2. The new partner is a temporary escape, not a genuine connection. Narcissists are impulsive by nature. They crave immediate gratification and have little patience for building meaningful relationships. Rather than taking the time to form a deep bond, they chase after the same feelings they once had with you, but with one crucial difference: they refuse to wait. They seek commitment, admiration, and devotion, yet they expect it instantly, without putting in any real emotional effort. So, they latch on to someone who provides quick validation. But here's the reality. Shortcuts never lead to lasting fulfillment. Before long, the cracks begin to show. The new partner may start asking questions, setting boundaries, or expecting mutual effort, just like you once did. Since the narcissist never truly earned their place in the relationship, it crumbles even faster than the last. What they call love is nothing more than another transactional exchange, rushed and unsustainable. Another illusion, another inevitable collapse. Sign 3. They choose someone who will accept less. With every failed relationship, narcissists leave behind a greater trail of damage. As a result, they lose access to the kind of love and care they once demanded. Those who valued emotional depth and connection have walked away. Left with fewer options, they settle for someone who will tolerate the bare minimum. This is not a reflection of the new person's worth, but rather of the narcissist's declining ability to maintain real intimacy. They no longer attract the best. They attract those who are most vulnerable, overly forgiving in a self-sacrificing way, or simply unaware of the manipulation. This is not an achievement. It's not an upgrade. It's just taking whatever is available. At this stage, the cycle speeds up dramatically. The narcissist may go from idealization to rejection in a matter of days. They lack the patience for even their usual manipulation tactics. The process becomes increasingly hollow, reinforcing the same inevitable pattern, one doomed to fail over and over again. Sign number 4. Their relationships end faster and with less spectacle. As narcissists grow older, something very telling begins to happen. Their relationships start burning out faster than ever before. Why does this occur? It's because people are becoming more adept at recognizing their manipulative behaviors and deceptive tactics. The charm they once relied on to ensnare others loses its effectiveness. Their once convincing lies no longer land the same way, and as their desperation grows, they become increasingly careless in their approach. The so-called new and improved relationship they flaunt is not the epic love story they try to make it seem. In reality, it is fleeting, unstable, and lacks the intensity they once projected onto social media for the world to see. Unlike past relationships, where grand gestures and exaggerated public displays were common, these newer entanglements fizzle out in silence. There are no sweeping declarations of love, no extravagant vacations, no over-the-top romantic gestures. Just a slow and steady deterioration that was doomed from the start. And with each failed relationship, the cracks in their carefully constructed facade widen. Over time, their ability to mask their true nature diminishes, and something even more disturbing begins to happen. A point comes when their very presence exudes toxicity. Their body language, their facial expressions, their entire demeanor radiates an unsettling energy that makes others instinctively recoil. They appear grim, angry, and unapproachable, not because they choose to be, but because years of deceit, frustration, and emotional turmoil have worn them down. They can no longer maintain the act, and their true self starts seeping through in ways they cannot control. Sign number 5. They secretly compare you, but they'll never admit it. A narcissist will never, under any circumstances, admit that they have downgraded in their new relationship. Why? Because doing so would require them to confront a truth they refuse to accept, that they lost something truly valuable. Instead, they will obsessively compare their new partner to you, constantly searching for any justification that they somehow won in this situation. But deep down, that truth gnaws at them. Every time the new person fails to meet the standards you once set, every time the relationship feels empty and lacking real emotional depth, the narcissist feels that loss creeping in. And because they cannot face this reality, they resort to overcompensating. This is why you often see them plastering social media with exaggerated, almost forced, declarations of happiness, those staged, over-the-top smiles in pictures, the endless couple goals posts, the fake ceremonies, the excessive displays of affection that scream desperation rather than genuine joy. But the real reason behind all of it, they are terrified. Terrified that the illusion will collapse. Terrified that the new partner will see through the charade. Terrified that, eventually, people will realize that their so-called upgrade was nothing more than a feeble attempt to mask their downward spiral. At the end of the day, it's not about proving they've moved on. It's about convincing themselves that they haven't lost. The ultimate reality of the narcissist's cycle. When all is said and done, the path of a narcissist is not one of growth or triumph. It is one of slow and inevitable decline. Their so-called downgrade is not a reflection of the new person's worth, but rather an undeniable testament to the narcissist's inability to maintain real, meaningful relationships. They do not build. They do not evolve. They do not learn. They simply repeat the same toxic cycle over and over again, each time with diminishing results. Every time they discard someone who genuinely loved them, they lose access to something irreplaceable, a depth of connection they will never experience again. And as time passes, this reality becomes more and more undeniable. Their relationships collapse at a faster rate. Their charm dulls. Their ability to manipulate weakens, and they are left chasing validation from those who demand less, simply because that is all they can get. So, if you ever find yourself wondering whether they have truly found someone better, let me give you the answer. They haven't, and they never will. You were never just a placeholder. You were the real thing, the one who truly mattered. And they know it. That is precisely why they resent you, why they still stalk you, why they struggle to let you go. Because once you lose someone real, you come to understand just how empty and meaningless the game has always been. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I look forward to continuing this conversation with you. Until next time, as always, let the healing begin and continue.